Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alanna Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Steven, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Steven Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alanna, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives. Who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now. Yes.
Steven just asked me if I need to rehearse this.
I don't know.
I don't rehearse things.
Sometimes you do.
No.
You're like, I guess never.
I don't rehearse talking. I rehearse memorizing songs.
True.
Valid.
Yep. All right, we're back on the
100%.
Mizell Show. It's official when Alanna has a blanket and her cup of coffee.
Decaf.
Decaf. You know,
Let's
we're
not
working.
try to throw me on blast with the caffeine.
No,
here.
it's a decaf. You've been working your way towards it and doing a great job at it, I must say.
Right.
Nice little
Okay.
milestone.
Affirmations here. Love language. Hello.
Give you affirmation. That's what
Okay.
it comes to.
Okay.
But we have some exciting news on the Mizell Show.
That's a drum roll.
We could have added a real drum roll.
You could
We
have,
didn't
but
need
I
you.
think mine sounds good.
Anyways, I'm now podcasting with a drummer. It seems like. No, but a little fun fact. A couple weeks ago, the Mizell Show actually had the opportunity to do one of their speaking engagements, and it was a phenomenal opportunity. We were able to speak to some administrators out in Millington.
First time in a while in person.
First time in a while, we've had some
Yeah.
Zooms or quote unquote Teams, but in
Yeah.
person, very good group, and we really enjoyed it. How'd you feel about it?
I loved the group. It was for back to school, and you could just tell that they were excited to be together.
Yeah.
There was, you get like a vibe when you walk in
Yes.
to a group, and they were already vibing before we even hit the stage. So that was super good. What we really talked about is who is your Simon?
Who's your Simon?
And one of the biggest things that we kind of set it out for is we broke it into threes because that's how we do. And
But first of all, we did ask them, because you're going back to this, it's kind of like a motivational or how can we support the group? And you kind of came up with the philosophy of who is your Simon because we wanted to give them something that they would be able to hold on to through the school year.
you mean like the person that asked us to speak, they wanted us to motivate them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to motivate them.
Sorry, it's so hard when you're not giving names
Yeah.
to tell a story. But we were asked to motivate the group as they kind of kicked off.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things for us was we don't need to motivate them to do their job.
No.
They're going to do their job.
Yes.
What we need to motivate them to do is care about themselves.
Yes, and fulfill their If you care
Right.
about yourself, your job is going to,
You're going to go so much further, and you're going to be such a happier person.
Yeah.
If you're caring for yourself, because you can only care for others as well as you're caring for yourself.
Mm.
And so we started with Who's Your Simon? And so the thing about Who's Your Simon is it goes back to Simon Says, and you would have to have us speak in person to get the full scope of Simon
The
Says.
full scope of it, but it also just takes you back to...
I will beat you in Simon Says.
You will.
Every
But
time.
It takes you back to
Every
the
time.
actual game of Simon
Yes.
Says. And as a kid, it was like probably most kids like camp counselors.
It's so
favorite
fun. It's
game.
fun.
But when you start thinking about who is your Simon.
Right. So the thing is, the person that plays Simon.
Yeah.
Is you then unfold it as they're dictating your next step.
Yes.
And if Simon didn't say it, then you don't do it.
Yeah.
So who in your life is your Simon? Who or what?
What? Yeah.
Is your Simon? And so it can be the internet. It can be social media. We talk about that. I feel like we talk about that so much because it's a current struggle for me.
For a lot of people.
For
yes,
a lot of
yeah,
people,
yeah.
but it's something that I specifically face. You know,
Yeah.
you've heard us talk about materialism with clothes and shoes and those kind of
Working
things.
out, weight loss.
Working out and weight loss. Eating based off of what the world says, like
Yeah.
keto this, hooty-dooty that. All those different things, those can become your Simon. And so what assignment is it's taking your eyes off of what you want to do and putting it on what somebody has dictated your life to be.
Yeah.
And another great example is when you've been working at the same place for years.
Yeah.
And you go from your house, you go straight there.
Kind of
right?
like on autopilot. Like you just
autopilot.
go. And
you don't
forget.
think there are days that you were like, I don't actually know how I got here.
Yeah.
And as you're going, you start a new job, different location. But how many times have we, on autopilot, driven to the same place because we've done that so many times? And I remember when we first moved out east from where we were, I did it a couple times. I'm like, and I'm going to the wrong house.
Yeah.
And I'm going to the wrong house. And you guys are not in the same direction at all.
I am supposed to be driving to work, and I've like turned to drop Adele off, and she's already at school.
Oh, many times.
Yes.
See, you go to bring Adele to school. I accidentally go to Target. I just accidentally end up there and then accidentally buy all the things. Once you're there,
turn around.
Once you're there, you just got to go in.
I'm not supposed to be there. I'm going to just go inside of Target. No.
And then I accidentally swipe the card. It's just autopilot.
Autopilot Target. There's probably a lot of people out there that go to autopilot to Target and just, I was just coming here to get one thing, but I just magically went down these aisles that I don't need to go on.
Y'all, I'm so kidding about that. But I'm serious about the autopilot.
Yes.
And so the whole premise is embracing the present. And so instead of listening to the dictation of somebody else or something else in your life, what if you were to actually embrace your current present? At a red light, there's actually a book, I think I've mentioned it a few times. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. It's a fantastic book. And it's about a preacher who ruthlessly eliminated hurry from his life. So he set some intentionality around what he was doing. So for him, it was creating a true Sabbath. And it was on a Saturday, not a Sunday, because he's a pastor. And for him, it was going the speed limit. Intentionally during specific times where he was cognizant to go the speed limit.
Yes.
So that he could slow himself down. It was...
When was the last time you actually drove the speed limit?
And paid attention to it.
That you were doing it.
When I was reading this book. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
So I remember after I was going downtown and I was on the interstate and it was from our old... Was it? No, it was from here. From our current house, I was on the interstate, and I had just finished that section. I was like, you know what? The whole way downtown, I'm going to go...
The speed limit.
The exact speed limit.
Yeah.
For me, it was hard. Because traffic doesn't flow at the speed limit. If that is not an analogy to the Simon, I don't know what it is. The world in our lives do not flow at the speed limit.
But so many times you're afraid to go to the speed limit because you want to keep up with the world.
Right.
Yes.
Because you're too concerned about somebody honking their horn behind you.
Or driving too fast.
Or feeling like you've got to get there because everybody else is driving 55 and a 40. That you don't realize what's going on and you're too busy watching what Simon is telling you to do. Simon says go 55.
Yeah.
When in reality, you should be going 40 because that's the path that you're supposed to be on. Yes. So you've got to embrace your present. And there's so much intentionality in it. And it's hard. Yeah. Going on a walk, actually looking at birds. There's actually an activity in one of Adele's books that says go on a walk and look for these things. But like, how many times do we just go outside and just go for a walk and not actually look around us? One of my friends, she just moved to Colorado, and she posted last night that for the first time ever in her life, she actually stargazed. Because she can see the stars. Yeah. So she took some time removing the hurry to look at the stars. So that's embracing her present. Yeah. And so that's in every facet. So it's embracing currently where you are for your work. It's embracing where you are currently as a parent. It's like slowing down long enough. And I actually did it tonight. We just put the kids to bed. I slowed down for a second. I held on to Adele. And I just took the biggest deep breath in. And I was like, I want to remember this smell of her right now. And then Briggs was jealous. So then he came over and cuddled up. And I did the same thing. Just like a big, deep inhale of my kids at the age of 3 and 6 at a time when they want to cuddle with mommy. Like being present, embrace the present. Not so much, I've got to hurry back and get that podcast done.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest points for us, is embracing the present. And then from the present, you've got to activate the current.
Yeah, you have to activate your current, and activating your current is like, you embrace where you are, but what are you going to do as you embrace it? Like, how are you staying active? And I think one of the biggest things that we feel is so important is finding the value of networking. And networking is such a misused word these days, because if you think of network, you think of adding as many people you can on LinkedIn, or going to an event and
blind adding.
Yeah.
Mind you.
Yeah,
blind adding these people.
Blind adding these people you think they were suggestions by LinkedIn.
Right.
Or going to a networking event and just making sure you always bring your business cards. You can hang your cards out. But one thing that we feel is very important, a part of networking that's a lost art these days, is being able to communicate with compassion. So when you are meeting these people or you're connecting with people, make sure that you are showing compassion in the words that you're saying. It's not trying to regurgitate everything that they're saying, or everything that hey, I go to this event, I need to make sure they know where I went to school, how long I worked. It's like, no, make sure that,
you don't need your elevator pitch ready.
Exactly. You just want to be able to have that compassion. And we kind of parked it there for a little bit at our event, because these people that we connected with in Millington, they weren't teachers. They were everybody else.
Yeah.
And so what we really wanted to make sure they knew is that when kids go to school, they have expectations for teachers, but they don't have expectations for the front desk lady, or the cafeteria, or the support staff, or the counselor. And so
and rarely do parents either.
Yeah. And so when you talk to that kid that day, you have the chance to show them compassion, because they know their teacher's going to ask the questions of, where's your homework? Let's learn this lesson. But you saying, hey, how was your day? It was good. Why was it good?
But what's so beautiful about what you just said, and I actually didn't think about it until now, is I think that is so much more our lives and our job is the cafeteria worker.
Yeah.
Like, how many people do you interact with on a daily basis that truly expect something of you in the same relationship that a parent does a teacher to its child?
Very true.
Or that I wouldn't even say a manager does to a coworker, because I think that we've put too much emphasis on what is expected of us to actually compassionately ask that question.
Yeah.
Or ask questions. So I almost wonder what it would be like for people to kind of take on the hat of a cafeteria worker and think that these people that they work with are the students that are coming to get food from them.
Yeah.
To where that only interaction that they need is, how are you today?
Yeah, it's all they need.
Like authentically listening and empathetically answering.
And that's what we were really wanting to let them see, that value piece of being able to know that, and we hit on this during our presentation, is that person, that support staff member, they have a chance to not only impact that student, but when you're networking properly, it could be, quote unquote, I hate to say this, generational impact. Because when you
it's the ripple effect.
Exactly. It's a ripple effect.
100%. So let's play it out. You know, I love a good analogy.
You love an analogy.
Let's do a visualization.
Do it.
So, hypothetically speaking, we're actually going to do this. We're going to do this because there's a specific family that you helped to recruit all 4 of their children.
Yes.
And then we were stronger connections with their parents. And then there's a couple stories, y'all.
Yeah.
So, there was one student that Steven recruited.
Yes.
There were 2 other kids. 3 total. Yes. 2 girls and a boy. The son was who you first recruited. And then the ripple effect was the other 2 students.
Yes.
But what was so critical was the authentic and empathetic networking that Steven did with the parents, to the point in which the mom sent a letter to the president that the president then shared back with Steven.
Yes. Actually shared with the entire campus.
With the entire campus. And I have it printed out because I am obsessed with my husband. So, but that is the ripple effect.
Yeah.
And so then that one of the young girls in particular went on to talk about, I learned this from Steven.
Yeah.
And then it just kept continuing. Think about even then, so Steven's dad has coached basketball for years, y'all. So Steven's dad actually coached Adele's PE teacher.
Yeah.
And then Adele's PE teacher is now coaching Adele.
And then also another just ripple effect, talking about this, is in your current job.
Yeah.
They're actually...
So this young lad starts and he goes, hey, I think I know your husband. I was like, of course you do. And everybody at the table is like, welcome lunch. Everybody's like, of course you know one of the Mizels.
Yeah.
It's like a running joke. Even today, somebody said candidate's name, and I was like, oh, I know them. And they're like, of course you do.
Of course you do.
Of course you do. But he goes, he recruited me to MTSU 14 years ago.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah. Something.
And then he shows up and is now on my team at AutoZone. But the thing is that Steven had such an authentic networking ripple effect originally that he remembered Steven.
Yes.
Fun fact, we also then realized that another one of my coworkers was also recruited, but to the University of Memphis, by Steven. And the reason that she chose human resources was Steven. So it doesn't have to be this like big handshake situation. Let's exchange business cards. Follow me, I'll follow you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's shooting her
Like-
McGavin guns, guys.
Like, I feel like that's what's like happening.
Yeah, you're right.
You think that it's gotta be this like business suited exchange.
Yeah.
And all of those scenarios were so much more of a casual, authentic, heartfelt exchange.
And that's why we wanted to portray that message to the administrators, is just having that heartfelt exchange, because you never know what that person, that young lad coming to the office that day, young chap might really be needing. And so we're really honing in on wanting them to, activate the current. Where are you right now? Grow where you are. Yeah. And one of the things that I saw maybe a couple weeks ago is when you think of a plant, when you see a plant, actually Steve Harvey said that you see a plant, you're supposed to dump like soil on it, you put mud on it, all these things. Yeah. And so it's one of those things where he really feels that when you are going through something, think of it as you are not buried, but you are planted. And so you will grow through whatever you're currently moving through, as long as you're moving and growing.
Did you know that I sell makeup? Not only do I sell makeup, but the makeup that I sell is 3D makeup, which allows you to highlight and contour your face in a super simple compact. As a mom, I could not survive without my simplified routine. Not only that, but it's exactly what you need. Exactly when you need it, all in one spot. Go ahead and check out Alanna Mizell on Instagram or alannamizell.com to learn more.
Michael Todd also did a sermon on that it may have been Stevie. But he talks about how God intentionally places you in the darkness so that you can grow from it. And actually, if you look at back in Genesis, biblically speaking, there was actually darkness before there was day.
Yeah.
So he never said, moon, hang in the sky, sun, let there be light, and that's going to be day and night. No, actually, there was darkness first, and then the sun arises.
Yeah.
So it's after the darkness.
The sun
and like, isn't that actually how all living organisms grow?
Yeah.
If you think about it, even if they're birthed in an egg, it's dark in the egg first, a uterus, in utero, I guess I should say, darkness. Plants, like we were just talking about, all living things that God created, they grow in the darkness first before they ever see the light. I don't think that was by chance.
But we have become this whole numb to that, and we forget that. And we always want sunshine and rainbows. We have to understand those moments of darkness are critical for you to not only, see the light, but also embrace it and enjoy it.
That's because you see everybody else driving 55 when you're supposed to be driving 40 because you're in the darkness and they have already seen their light. You only see the light of people unless they're vulnerable enough to let you into the darkness. And even then, more times than not, if I'm going to talk about my vulnerability, I'm at least one step ahead of it. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you exactly where I am at the exact standpoint. So we only get a glimpse of light. We're only in, Genesis 3? 2, I don't know, in Genesis, beginning of Genesis, we're only at the part where he says, let there be light.
Yeah.
For every person, except for those that are closest to you. And I would even say, for me, even with Steven, there's sometimes that I'm in the darkness, I've got to process a little bit of that first to be able to articulate that out.
Yeah. No, you're yes.
You are so busy looking at everybody else's light or everybody else's Simon that you can't actually activate your current.
Yeah.
You can't embrace your present. Which is point 1. Point 2 is activate your current. And point 3 is create your outcome.
Yes. You have to be able to create your outcome. And I think what you were kind of hitting on is that the first thing of creating your outcome, you have to have some self-affirmation.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the biggest, you guys have heard us say this before if you've listened to all of the podcasts, but
this could be somebody's first time listening.
Fantastic. I'm so proud of you. Please click subscribe and share with all your friends. But another great book, just throwing out all the books.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
It's called The Happiness Advantage. And it was a study done in Harvard that was looking at Harvard students, specifically freshmen. And they have one of the highest suicide rates in the country. All Ivy Leagues do. All these,
sadly, yes.
University of Memphis wanted to be a Carnegie One institution. I'm like, there goes your suicide rate, just went up. Anytime you put something up on a pedestal, something that people can reach for, when they get there, they've hit their goal, and then what?
Yeah, if you're not prepared, you're right.
So you get to Harvard. That's been your epitome since you were little. And then what? And so that's kind of what was going on in the Happiness Advantage. It was that these students have gotten there, and they're like, well, now I'm just a dime a dozen because all these people are super smart. And I was the smartest in my grade or my class or my state, for most of them. And then they're struggling. They're away from home. You name it. And they're so busy looking at the things that are not going well that they miss the things that are going on. So it kind of goes back to the beginning of kind of pausing and looking at your walk. But he talks about instituting a gratitude practice and a mantra to yourself.
Yes.
And there's actually a ton of studies. I'm reading a book right now called Intuitive Eating. There's a bunch of studies that talk about body image issues correlating to how we speak to ourselves. And we talked about this in the presentation. If somebody verbally said to me the stuff I say to myself in my head, I would slap them so hard.
Yeah.
I would straight up slap them and then punch them straight in the face and be like, I'm going to need for you to stay down for just a second. And yet I continue to talk to myself that way. Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Another great book, it's called Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, and he actually talks about the only person that you will be with for your entire life, from birth to death, is yourself.
Yeah.
So if you don't love yourself and talk yourself up to yourself, then who's going to do it?
The question is, what are you saying to yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we implemented in our house after I read The Happiness Advantage is a gratitude practice at dinner where we write down 3 gratefuls. Do we do it every night? Nope, because we're humans. And things happen. Like you got to go get your prescription from Walgreens. That happened tonight. But we also leave the house. 1, we pray together. 2, we then say our mantra. And Adele and Briggs, they have shortened theirs over time to just 3. And we always roar at the end because that's what Briggs added when he entered into our world of the Mizels.
Yes.
And mine is, I am beautiful, I am valuable, I am changing others' lives. The thing about your mantra is it needs to be 3 things that you struggle to believe.
Yeah. And the thing about that is that you sit here like, we're human. I didn't say my mantra today, and I was thinking throughout the day. Today was a work day.
Yeah.
I talked to you, talked to the kids, talked to people at work. I don't think I said one positive thing about myself today. Like, just kind of said it.
Reflecting back on it.
Like, you get so caught up.
You know what? I don't think I did either.
You get so caught up in your day, and you tell people what you've done, and you show people, but you never spend time with yourself to say, I was able to do X, Y, Z today, and that is beautiful.
I actually doubted
this
a
morning,
lot more than I even neutrally. I doubted myself more today after us not doing mantras this morning.
Well, you kicked the day off with the doubt because you left to go to the gym, which is so funny. You left to go to the gym this morning and said, I'm drained doing this. But
I have no urge to do this.
But then you went to the gym and killed it. And
I had a good lift day today.
And you told me but you never looked yourself in the mirror and say, today I did XYZ.
Right.
And it's the thing about what we do, though. We're quick to tell somebody, text somebody, but when you get up and go to the gym, or you get up and go to work and say, have a conversation with yourself, because in the day, like Matthew
that's the
said,
beauty of like a true gratitude practice or a journaling methodology. For us, a gratitude practice is shorter. So, like, all four of us have no attention span.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not unless we're talking out loud.
Yeah.
So, for us to actually sit down was an act of Congress.
Yes.
And then for us to write something, oh, bless be.
Yeah.
Like, it may never
Adele's
happen.
gotten good with it, but Briggs,
She's on it. She's the most mature out of all of us.
Trying to nail Briggs down for that gratitude practice. But
trying to nail me down.
Well,
for me to sit still.
Yeah, this is true.
It's a challenge.
But like, I do agree with what you said about the book.
You to sit still. You're not going to try to call yourself out.
I don't know. I'm not talking to myself today, clearly. So, so let alone call myself out. I'm not going to.
No, I'm not talking to myself.
If I can't say anything positive, say anything negative. Come on now. No, but
we're talking neutral.
Talking neutral. But no, that's very important of creating your outcome. And one last piece of creating your outcome that we talked about is just doing the little things. And we've mentioned it before, like doing the little things tomorrow just to remind yourself before you go to the gym, like, I can do this, or I just lifted XYZ, or I walked, whatever you did, feel and embrace it and talk to yourself about it.
So I actually talked to one of my coworkers today at lunch about this. We specifically talked about making your bed. And how only 37% of adults make your bed.
Only 37% of Americans, not adults, Americans make their bed.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
So Steven and I've made my bed since I was in high school.
And
it's just something that both of us have always done, I feel like. We've always made our bed.
I mean, sometimes on the weekends, Alanna will sleep until like 5:30 or 6. And if I'm up, I will make the bed around her. Like, all right, I know you're still here. I'm going to make my bed.
Let me just straighten this side out. And I'm like, this fill in the blank.
Yeah.
I'm about to unmake this bed and then scurry over to the other side. No, but it's so important because, and there's so many books on it, but it's just like when you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you make your bed. I've completed 3 tasks so far today.
Yeah.
And like, you don't necessarily, when you're getting into a gratitude practice or a ruthless elimination of hurry, you don't think about those things, but it's so important.
So important.
Or like, okay, made my bed, made my coffee, washed my face, brushed my teeth, I got dressed. Like, those are so many things that we take for granted. And in reality, how many people don't have a bed to make?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to be morbid, but it's also a blessing to be able to make your bed before you have to go into work. Yeah. Or have to go do a workout.
No, that's something.
So it just kind of snaps you back into reality and gets you started on the right foot. And Steven actually calls it the 1s, 2s, and 3s of life.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about it on here. The 1s, 2s, and 3s.
Yes, we have. But it can be some first time listening. So
you can look back and go scroll back a hot second. Because we talked about it. But it's so critical, especially. I was specifically talking to this coworker about her anxiety and her depression, how it's like just derailing and she's struggling to get out of bed in the morning. And I said, well, do you make your bed? She said, no, I don't make my bed. And I said, well, first, you're less likely to get back in your bed if you make it.
Yes.
Like, that's fact.
That's fact. Yes.
That's fact.
Yes.
You're less likely to get back into your bed if it's made. Second, you've accomplished something.
Yes.
And she's like, well, I never thought of it like that. And I was like, well, if you're struggling to do the little things like make your bed, like get out of your bed, it's going to be a big thing for you to get out and make it.
Yeah.
That's 2.
That's 2.
2 things. And she said, I just don't know why I can't just do it. I know I need to. And I was like, maybe just start with making your bed.
Exactly. Creating your outcome starts with doing those little things. Yeah. And like one thing that we talked about is just like trying to have the conversation with yourselves, making the bed. And it's the little things that you can do that can show up, because if you can't handle the little things, why should you get what's next could be even bigger?
Right.
And that's something that we talked about. We mentor people. It's like, hey, you're complaining about this job, or you're complaining about this prize or this project you want, but you're not taking advantage of what you have here. So when you get that, will you keep it? Because Eric Thomas says this, and we're going to wrap up on this. The worst thing in life is to reach success and then end up losing it because you weren't prepared to stay in success. Mm-hmm. And we have seen a lot of people like that.
We've seen a lot of people like that, and you will fall flat on your face and not know how to pick yourself back up.
Yeah. Well, actually, the way E.T. says, the worst thing is getting out of the hood and then have to come back to the hood because you weren't able to stay where you're supposed to be.
I think that's a better correlation.
It's a better correlation, yeah.
Because whatever hood you're talking about is the Simon you're trying to run towards.
Facts. Well, again, we appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
You have to embrace the present, activate the current, and create your outcome. And keep listening to the Mizell Show.
And who is your Simon?
Facts.
So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizellshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at The Mizell Show.